Okay, let's get started. So every morning I go live. I've been doing it since about the beginning of May, I think. We do a pre-market show, and I give people 12 tickers that they can trade at the end of the show. And we spend time actually going over what's happening in the pre-market to get set up for the regular trading hours. What I end up giving to you are pivot levels and snapback levels, moving averages, market highs and lows, the posture, and what I wanted to do on this video is I wanted to actually spend some time with you and do a retrospective into, like, once I give you these setups, how is it that you can actually trade? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go over 3 to 4 different trading strategies that you can use. And then that way, as I'm showing you these things in the pre-market, you can utilize this video to understand, like, here's some strategies that I can use. There's other kinds of strategies out there as well. And this will actually, we're actually going to be kind of focused in on the scalper play. However, these same kinds of strategies can be used in higher time frames for swing traders and even investors wanting to get in on a, one of the most important things on, and it's going to actually reduce your stress level, is actually getting a good entry. Okay. And so that's what we're going to talk about here in this video. And let's get started. So this is an example of my most recent thumbnail that I put out on YouTube. And there it is right there, your 12 pre-market setup. And so the way I end up having these setups show up for you is one thing that I've been doing, and I just started doing this with my Substack reports, is actually I'll send those things out to you. I'm trying to do it prior to the show, okay? So that you can see here 12 charts that I'm watching before the bell, and this was actually on my Substack market intelligence reports. And so I'll actually send out the screenshot of the 1 hour time frames with the pivots, and then a detailed level of the pivots on the daily time frame. And then this one right here actually shows you the specific tickers that I'm looking at. So along with your hourly pivots right here for every single one of the stocks that I'm actually watching in the pre-market. See here. Now, I got to tell you, I think I do a pretty good job of finding stocks that are actually moving, or that have an opportunity to move during the regular trading hours. Actually stocks, for the most part, they just kind of chop around sideways. They'll have maybe some small impulse move, but for the most part, they just trade sideways. Take a look over here at the SPY, how it traded for the day on Friday, right? You actually opened right here. You opened right here. And you closed right here, pretty much 0.43%, right? The trading range for this thing was only this small trading range. And then same thing for the NASDAQ once you got into about the 11 o'clock hour. And the Dow had one impulse move up and then spent the entire day trading in a very small range. And once again, same thing with the Russell. The Russell had a little bit of movement between 9:30 and 11:30, but then it ended up in that very small trading range when you're looking at it, right? So, if we go over here and you take a look at the chart, at the stocks that I had actually pointed out as being possible movers for the day, take a look at this. Okay, so these are the stocks that I actually had on my list on Monday in regards to being possible movers during the regular trading hours. And that's an important distinction that you need to understand about, because a lot of times people will actually talk about stocks, but if the stocks have already moved in the pre-market and they're not moving in the regular trading hours, then it's really a waste of your time. And you could see that right here that we had basically these stocks right here that I had on my list right there, they didn't really hardly move at all, about 0.5% or less, okay? And TSM was actually had a pretty decent move, and actually that's one of the ones I'm going to go over, but it was only a 0.96%. So I'm actually going to throw that in the category that it was not that much of a mover. But what did we get? We ended up having an opportunity to have make money in this area right here, moving almost 2%, and this area right here. And once again, this isn't just your total movement, because what ends up happening is a lot of times things are moving in the pre-market. This is actually your regular trading hours from the time of the market open. And you could see that you had major movements on these stocks on both directions. And so if you're playing it to the short side, you could have made money on the short side. If you were playing it to the long side, you could have made money on the long side. And we ended up getting about a 66% opportunity that we had 8 out of 12 tickers that had the moves on them. Now I'm going to actually show you how you could have gotten into those trades and made money. But before I do that, I do want to mention, okay, that I am live every morning at 8:15 doing the pre-market analysis and helping the traders that are actually with me in the morning stay on the right side of the trade. But there's a second part to this as well. I also produce this stock chartist review market intelligence reports, and this thing goes out every single day. I begin working on it about 4:30 in the morning, and it goes out about 5:30 in the morning to all of my subscribers. And I would strongly strongly recommend that you actually get involved with this, because this is sort of like the addendum to the pre-market live show, and this gives you the opportunity to get in front of the trade as well. And so this is actually very helpful. And on top of that, so you'll have the report that comes in right here. And actually, let me change that to yellow so it shows up a little bit better. But you're going to have that report right here that comes in right here. And then right before the bell, and I've just started doing this, so I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be able to do it. But right before the show, I'll actually send out to you, to my subscribers, that is, the 12 different charts I'm watching, along with the pivot levels and the different trend lines that I've already drawn in. And then on top of that, I'm actually also trying to produce a pre-market live earnings intelligence breakdown right here too as well. So you're going to get all of this stuff. Hey, you know what? If you subscribe to it, it's like a quarter a day is what it ends up being, and you'll help out the channel. By the way, I want to mention before I get started that I also sell indicators over here on StockChartistry.com, and all the charts that you're going to see and all the indicators that are on the charts that I use the most, I've actually made those available to the public, and that's on StockChartistry.com. You can buy them individually or you can buy them in package. And honestly, taking a few $100 to invest in your platform is going to help you actually win. Now, before we get started, there's a few things that I wanted to go over. One of the things that I get asked all the time is, hey, is this a good buy here? And honestly, that is one of the questions I really hate to answer. Is it a good buy here, or should I sell here? My problem with that is this. I don't know your account size. I don't know your risk disposition. There's so many things that go into, like, should you do a buy or should you do a sell? I don't know your time frame. Are you trading on a scalp? Are you trading on a strategic swing trade? Are you doing a long-term swing trade? Are you an investment? I don't know your position size, how you're leveraging. I don't know your risk disposition. Can you handle a little bit of heat? Are you going to jump out as soon as the heat ends up, they start putting the heat on you? I don't know your experience level, and I don't know your discipline. I need to actually have an understanding about all of these kind of things to give you an informed decision about whether you should buy at a certain zone or sell in a certain zone. And so that's one of the reasons why actually I'm creating this video, okay? Because you understand these things, and you need to continue to learn these things about yourself. As Shakespeare said, know thyself, right? So in trading, psychology is incredibly important. Understanding risk management and risk disposition, understanding your discipline disposition, your experience level, all of those things come into play, okay? What I'm going to do right now, though, is I'm going to actually show you the setups. I'm going to show you how you could trade the setups, and then you need to kind of figure out these kind of things so that it actually fits your risk disposition. If you have a small account and you're over leveraging that small account, you're putting that account at risk of blowing up. On top of that, you're putting yourself in an incredibly high stress level. These are the kind of things that you'll need to learn about yourself, and you could take these strategies and utilize them with very small positions at first until you feel comfortable with the strategy. And after that, you can begin to leverage up the strategies, but always start small. Second part, this is what we try to do in our pre-market live sessions. We're trying to get an idea of what is going on with pre-market posture. We take a look at the primary markets, we take a look at the secondary markets, and then we do a sector and an extended sector analysis. We go top down. We start at the 30,000 foot level, and then we begin working our way down. And what we're doing there is we're building a narrative, okay? And we're understanding what are the catalysts that are actually going to drive the market. And then we take a look at the higher time frames, or the biases in the higher time frames. And after that, and only after we do all of that, that's when we drive into the 12 different charts that I talk about. And I also try to, do some charts, for the viewers that maybe they have charts as far as requests go. What we're also wanting to understand is that this can go in two different directions. You have tailwinds that could drive the market to the upside, and then you have your headwinds that can drive the market to the downside. And no person can tell you, even from a pre-market analysis, that, hey, this market's going to go green. The market looked really good, and a lot of people thought the market was going to go green on Friday, but honestly, Friday was not a very good day in the regular trading hours, but the pre-market hours were fantastic the way it goes. What we're doing is we're setting up an understanding about how the market is, where are our levels, and what are these indicators that are going to give us an idea about how to read the market. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to learn to read the market. Now, we're not going to tell the market what it's going to do. It's going to tell us, but we've already got our foot in the door because we've already read the pre-market live report. And on top of that, you've attended the pre-market live session, and together we've built that narrative. All right, well, enough chit chat about all the different other things that we need to talk about. I just really want to show you these strategies and then talk to you about how you could actually how you could actually get into those things. And so we're going to start off with Marll. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you an excerpt of the pre-market live show that I recorded. Then I'm going to show you how you actually could have traded this. Okay, so this is now Marll in the pre-market on the pre-market live show, and it's probably around, it's getting close to 9 o'clock. There you go on your 4-hour time frame chart. That is an ascending triangle. Is a little bit of a bearish rising wedge is what it is. And I'm really kind of expecting this to come back into this 246 area, or even better, come back and retag up on this 50-period moving average right here, and then come back into the middle part of this zone, you know, right through here. And we should see a reaction right there. As you can see, this was actually support here. It was resistance here, and then support for that triangle. Actually, the middle part of this zone has been a very good area to trade off of. So looking at this, we also have a pivot right there as well at 240, right? So you got your pivot right there at 240 as well. Right here, there's your pivot. I'd love to see this thing come back into 240. If you're going to scalp it, I'm thinking you scalp it on the short side. All right, so let's see how it traded during the day yesterday. You can see it put in these incredibly bearish candles right here, and it looks like it would have been a fantastic go short. And all you had to do was just pick up this, just kind of play off of this trend line right through here. If it broke down out of that trend line, then you were in business, right? And what I ended up doing is I give the pre-market highs and the pre-market lows. So let me zoom in on my screen to give you a better idea about how that actually could have played on the lower time frames. All right, well, I got you looking at a 1-minute chart right now, zoomed out, showing the pre-market. It's showing this upper area right here, which was your pre-market high and then your pre-market low. And those are the numbers that I'm constantly going over with people. For whatever reason, those are incredibly important anchor points. And as we zoom into this, you're going to see what ended up playing out. Let's just take it up to about this. Maybe we'll zoom it out just a little bit more, get a little more candle structures here for you to look at, okay? So there you go. There's your pre-market low, and it ended up breaking lower, as I thought that it probably would do. But you didn't quite, and I'm actually kind of glad about this, you didn't quite get a perfect retest of that downward trend, that pre-market low right there, right? You ended up getting a little more of it was close to it, but it didn't quite get there, did it? It got very close, but not quite there. But what you ended up getting was, it ended up showing you that, okay, this was about as far as it was going to go on the low right there. So that was your low, and then it gave you a trend line back into that you actually could have pulled off of that. And once it recaptured, if you're looking at these moving averages, once it recaptured these moving averages right through here and took out that low, and you put in that big bearish candle right there, that could have been your entry right there, is your entry right here off of that, knowing that it can't even make it back to the pre-market low to even do a test. A lot of times they'll rip it up and over the pre-market low and then rip it back down under. This was so bearish that it actually just was giving it all back. And if you were trading on Friday, you also would have noticed that a lot of money started coming out of DRAM at that time. So if you would have got in right there at that point right there, this is what you would have been looking at. And you could just follow your 5-period moving average all the way down to right here, where it actually picks up the 5-period moving average on the daily time frame chart. So that's what that dashed line is right there. And once again, these are our indicators. I call this the mother of all moving averages. These are indicators that are available on stockchartistry.com, and it will definitely help your trading. So what you ended up with was a very nice opportunity, right? That was actually shown to you right here, and your downside, you can even take a trend line off of the downside on that as well. If it breaks trend, you can get out, or you could do the 5-period moving average. I prefer the 5-period moving average on something that's actually running like this. But what you got there is a breakout. You got the breakout, and then the retest, and then the breakout again on a stock, and that stock was given to you on the pre-market show. All right, time for me to play another excerpt for you. All right, we're going to talk about TSM in this excerpt. I'm going to show you what I talked about at 9 o'clock on Friday, and then I'll show you how to trade it. It's on the list, and TSM's on the list because I gave you guys the great swing long on TSM. TSM is now coming into this trend channel right through here. I told you guys weekly lines are significant, and they are nothing to be trifled with. TSM held that weekly. It did the wick under. It even gave you the wick under and the wick over. I hope some of you guys got into this. Now, if you're a tactical swing trader like I am, I take my profit right about now. I would take my profit. I let this thing come back in, maybe find another entry. But on the long term, you could actually hold this for a longer term. As long as it's holding down that bottom wick right there, then you're in business right now. I am concerned that we are due for a pullback, and maybe this thing actually breaks that trend line. So, I'm keeping my stuff very tight to the vest. That's how I'm playing it. Going in over here on the 15-minute time frame basis, we're also at the very top of the balance range. You guys know I hate to start the day off on a stock that's at the top of the balance range, because that you almost always means you get the flim flam, right? That flim flam, that's my saying, right? You get the flim flam. Here you are, you're trending up. The balance range is up towards the top. It's going to end up breaking this trend line. It's going to put those people who actually chased in a world of hurt, bring you up to bring you down, bring you into this price range right through here. You got your 200 period moving average, you got your pivot lows, you got your pre-market lows, and that's where actually you start to see reaction. Right in through this area right here will be a buy range probably on this thing, coming back into that 415. That gives you another opportunity if you didn't get a chance to get in on the swing long on this, okay? All right, and here you go. This is TSM's chart. Now we're looking at it again on the 1 minute time frame basis to see how it traded during the market hours and during the regular trading hours, and it did exactly what I told my viewers to look out for. It actually ripped it up, right? Because the market was really bullish at the time, okay? So they ripped it up, and then they put in that upper wick right there just to take you down, and that's exactly what they did. They took you down, and you had like two parts to that on the down frame on that. Now, if you're a scalper, that would have been great, okay? I really was not interested in scalping this. I'm more interested, I'm a tactical swing trader, so for me, I'm more interested in the idea of maybe picking this up on the long side, and I'm not really trying to actually trade that fast. On top of that, though, you also got your 10 period moving average on the daily time frame basis. You can see it broke it right here. So if you had the mother of all moving averages and you had daily moving averages on your charts, you could see that that would actually be an excellent entry for you right there. Or you could played it off of the pre-market high once it actually took out this wick right here, captured the 5 period moving average, and once again utilizing the 5 period moving average, you actually could have ran this in as a quick scalp to the downside, okay? But here's the most important part of this. You did not get caught up in the flim flam on this. You didn't get FOMO on this, because when the market opened, this thing was on the highs. The market was very bullish, okay? But I told you, watch it out for the other way, because what's going to happen is they love to capture the pre-market traders off sides. They love to grab the liquidity right here in this area and then rip you down, and then come back into your moving averages, a little bit of a gap fill. I'm not even sure if it filled the gap entirely, not entirely on the gap fill, capture your moving averages, and then it's actually back up to the other way, because honestly, this thing is bullish on that weekly time frame chart, and you ended up coming into 420, which is pretty close to about where you started for the day. It was 425 actually. This is that look above and fail, flim flam, out of balance, offsides to the high side in the pre-market. And this is something that I'm constantly showing people. Then for the third one, guys, I also have Madna on the list. And the reason why Madna is on the list is because I wanted to show you, I'm pulling that Fibonacci. We'll go over here to the hourly time frame basis. I'm pulling that Fibonacci. Where'd you come right to? You came right to the 50% retracement, and now you are solidifying down there. I pulled a trend line and a trend channel. Now, is this actual channel? I don't know. I've only got 1 point over here, so this is a hidden channel, and it has yet to be proven, but I'm thinking that's the bottom of your channel. And now if it takes out and above the high part of this, then actually this could rip longer. Guys, remember, we're talking about saving people from cancer right here. This is significant. This thing could go to $1,000. If you got money to throw away, then you could take an out of the money call on this thing, and just put it out there, and then and actually do something like that. I'm not telling you to do it, but I'm saying if that's something that you want to do, and you're okay with actually, that hey, I'm going to put $500, and if I lose the 500, I lose the 500, but I get 5,000. Great. That's the kind of play that you could play on something like this. If you want to play this on a daily time frame basis, you want to watch this thing, you could actually play it out and above this 142, and it shows that it holds that. Then you could actually run this thing up, and it might come up into the top of the gap all the way up to 175. Guys, this is a ripper and a runner. All right, so here we are with Madna, and I got the price action of what happened on Friday, and you could see on this hourly time frame basis that we had an impulsive breakout off of the top of this trend line that I drew in for everybody on the pre-market show, and what a beautiful candle that was right there. And so I actually have 3 trades that actually could have came off of Madna on Friday for you that we're going to actually take a look at on the lower time frame charts. Okay, so let's drive in. All right, so on the 15-minute time frame, what you got going on, it broke out of this trend line right through here. That was your 200 period moving average. You actually, I've developed a strategy that I call a no look back strategy, and on a big, huge impulsive candle like this, on a stock that's gapped up, and on a stock that has a huge news catalyst like this, you could actually use something that I call a no look back strategy. A lot of times, no look back strategies, what they are is they're taking advantage of higher risk momentum trade. It's actually taking the initial impulse and just running with it, and it's very short duration, okay? So the way this is played is this. You have this big bullish candle right through here. Once it took out that trend line, you could have went ahead and got in right here on that trend line. If it takes out the bottom of that bullish candle, then you're out, okay? You usually want to reduce your risk size. You may say, for example, you usually buy 100 shares. Maybe for this one, you only buy 20 shares or 50 shares. You reduce your risk size on this because it is a high risk play, but you're also playing the momentum. You're playing the fact that it broke out of that. You're playing the fact that this thing has actually got news behind it. It's got the wind behind its back. Then what you do is you look at these. So you got like 3 impulse candles right here. Before you start putting in these little short candles right through here, you take your profit as it actually begins going up towards the top side. And then what we ended up with, and this is so beautiful about this one. This one here is actually one that's actually showing us several trades at the same time. So you could have actually played the no look back strategy on that and made money. But then look what you also have over here too. You have a retest of this pre-market high, and you also have a break of the trend line right through here as well. So there's your break on the trend line, and there's your next entry right there on this stock. You could have actually got a second entry right through here after you've already made several $100s on it. And then once it breaks down underneath of this 5-period moving average, okay, so you would have your entry right here, right there, and break down out of your 5-period moving average around the 150 level. Your entry is around 143. Your exit is in about the 150. Hey, if you're trading 100 shares, there's another $700 for you as well. I'm not a scalper anymore. I got out of the scalping game, guys, okay? But if you like to scalp, that would have been a beautiful entry. Now, a lot of times these things run in 2 legs, okay? So your first leg was right here. Here's your first leg right here, okay? And then you have a second leg right through here. But this one here also offered a third leg, once again, on a minor pullback right through here. You could have stayed in this thing and then rode it up again for one more run. And then once again, breaking the moving average right through here, it takes you up to 150. You know what? You get a third leg on a break. It's time to actually take your money and run. A lot of times you only get 2 legs on these kinds of things. But once again, the news catalyst on this thing was just absolutely huge. And so that's important to take into consideration. All right, so look, in closing, let's talk about the strategies, okay? I basically gave you 3 different kinds of strategies that we talk about, and I show these a lot of times in the pre-market. In Intel, for example, I did not show you the negative side of the trade, and if I had shown you the negative side of the trade, you actually could have made money on Intel in a breakout and retest strategy as well. Sometimes I don't have time to actually show you both sides of the trade because we start to run out of time. Intel, I think, was the last stock that I talked about in the pre-market show, and I felt bad about that because as I saw the price action and I saw how it was playing out in the regular trading hours, I was like, oh wow, you know, I missed actually telling you about this. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to actually show you how to interpret price action so that you can make these assessments in real time as you go, okay? So we talked about 3 different types of strategies. There's the breakout and retest strategy, the opening range breakout. A lot of times we're using pre-market highs and pre-market lows. Sometimes we're using snapbacks, sometimes we're using pivots, okay? It just depends on how the chart's laying out. What I'm also trying to do is I'm trying to find trades that have 2 directions to them. You can either trade them to the upside or trade them to the bottom side, depending on how the market is actually telling you it wants to go, okay? The second strategy that I showed you was a compression channel fakeout, okay? A lot of times they're gonna like slowly walk it up in the pre-market. They're gonna take you right to that pre-market level, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna rip you up to try to actually gain that liquidity, and then they're gonna rip you back down. A lot of times they're gonna rip you right back down into the moving averages, the bottom of a gap, or they're going to take you all the way down to the pre-market low. And in TSM's case, I think that's exactly what it did. It took you right down to that pre-market low. Once again, these pre-market lows and highs, they're automatically drawn in for you if you want to go to stockchartistry.com and pick up the indicators, and you're a user of Thinkorswim. So I would strongly suggest you do that. Invest in yourself and you will always win. I promise you that. The third one that I talked about, and this is one that a lot of people never talk about on the internet, and I call it a no look back strategy. And I've used this one several times and it's been beneficial, but you do not want to stay long on this, and you need to have discipline. You need to have what is the number that I'm actually out on this, and you need to practice this with very low entries. In fact, even just try it for a while with like 1 share, but only do it when you have the conditions are all in place. You have an extremely tight compression zone, and then all of a sudden it bursts out of that compression zone. And I could tell you that I saw Meta do this at least twice. I'm not sure if it was last week or the week before, but Meta had these incredible bursts, and I was like, yep, that's a no look back strategy right there for sure. What you want to do, there's 3 different ways that you can actually set your stop loss on a no look back strategy. One, you can say, okay, the prior bar, if it actually takes out the low of the prior bar, I'm out of this. Hey, it's a momentum play. If it's taking out the prior bar, then it's not actually playing that momentum like you thought it was. This is a ripping and running. You don't even have time for a retest to get back into this. Now, you take this up for 1, 2, 3 candles top. You could set your time frame for 1 minute or 2 minutes. You watch your candles. As your big bullish candles become less and less and less, it's time to get out of it. This thing will reverse on you in a heartbeat. But the nice thing about a no look back is on a breakout on a trend line or a breakout on a compression zone is it gives you the opportunity to get that initial part. But then once it comes back and does the retest, now you've already got it in your sights now to go ahead and do the retest. So now you actually got 2 trades. You got the no look back. Not on everything. It has a news catalyst. It's a gap up. Whatever the items are that's actually making this thing so bullish that it just rips like that, okay? But now it's coming back and retesting that pre-market high, or if it's ripping under, it's retesting the pre-market low, and then it's showing you it can hold that, and now you're getting phase 2 of this, right, on the no look back. And then on phase 2, what you have is a lot of times that move will actually move in 2 parts. You'll have the first move, then you'll have like what I call like a 2-bar pullback. So it's a very small pullback. We kind of showed that. So that's actually kind of part of this trade. A lot of people like to stay in and add. I don't do that, okay? I take my money, I put my money in the bank account. I always say, you can't take the money out of my bank account, but if I want to get in on a second leg, then I'll get in on the second leg and I'll put that money in the bank account too. Why do I have to actually add to it and stay in the position? If it decides that that 2-bar pullback is not 2 bars, it's 4 bars, and then 4 bars turn into 10 bars, and I'm giving back my profit because I was actually scaling in right there, I don't play it like that. You're welcome to develop your own strategies, but that's how I play it. All right, so I hope this is helpful for you. If these strategies are new to you, if you've not used them, put on super small position size, okay? Learn to trade the strategy, learn to develop the confidence in the strategies so that when the heat gets really hot, that you'll be like, I've seen this before, I can stay in the trade, or I've seen this before, I need to get out now. You'll learn those things as you begin using them more and more. What you don't need to do is get in there all gun-ho, I got these great strategies, and start throwing on super position size, and then ruining your confidence, okay, and then having to rebuild that. Psychology is incredibly important when you're actually trading the stock market. You need to develop a psychology where you know that you can trust your indicators, trust your levels, and how you're actually going to play those levels, and also that you've developed an intuition for understanding like when you're wrong, okay? And then also, absolutely important, always do your discipline. All right, you got to know where it is that I said that I'm wrong, I'm getting out. I got so many other strategies, but they get more and more complicated, and these are like the top 3 that we pretty much talk about on almost every pre-market show. If you don't attend my pre-market show, you're missing out. I honestly believe that. It's not only helped other traders, it's even helped me, because as I'm trying to help you, I'm even helping myself. On top of that, the pre-market live report is really part of that. You read the pre-market live report, you're prepared for the pre-market show, get into the pre-market show, you're preparing yourself for the day's trading. What the day's trading is actually telling you is, what is my sentiment? What is my understanding? What are the narratives that are going to drive this market? As I said before, we came in on Friday and man, the market looked so bullish in the pre-market. But I warned everybody, I said, you know what? Don't be surprised if this thing flips. And I told you guys, I said, expect the unexpected. You know what? It did. It did kind of flip. Not a lot, but bearishness came back into the market. The bonds, they ended up getting sold off again. ERAM ended up like going down, and then money started flowing into software. We were ahead of all of these things because we actually talked about that in the pre-market. We said scenario A is, hey, this thing is going to rip and run, and it's bullish from here on out. We're happy campers. But scenario B, what if money starts coming out of DRAM, for example, Marll, where I said it looks like it's more to the short side. What if money comes out of Marll and then starts going into Palantir, which was one of my call outs, a very nice call out, by the way. So, you know, attend the pre-market show, get the pre-market live report. I would strongly suggest that you subscribe to get the full report. It's only $6.99 a month, and it supports the channel. So I appreciate you guys. I really appreciate all the support that you've given me. We've grown this channel significantly, considering that I've only started it basically around May. I look forward to continuing to win with you. And if there's any ideas that you have about like videos that you'd like to see in regards to technical trading and stuff like that, let me know in the comments below. Do me a favor, like the video, comment on the video, share the video. I'm trying to get the word out, and I just appreciate you guys. Happy trading and make lots of money.